Hi there. Something to remember. Midpoint, just another word for middle, which you can think of as an average, and hopefully by now we all know how to average out a couple of things, because that's really all we're going to be doing in this section. For instance, let's say we got a nice simple segment. It's got endpoints on this number line at 10 and 50. And I'll make it official. I'll actually make it a segment by connecting the two endpoints. There. If we wanted to find the midpoint of this segment, we just have to average out the values of the endpoints. And the endpoints are at 10, right here, and 50. If we want to average those two things out, we simply add them up and divide by the number of things there are. In this case, and for all segments, you'll divide by 2, because there's always going to be 2 endpoints. That'd give you 60 over 2, which is, of course, 30. And you can see 30 is also smack dab in the middle of the segment. So what if we had a little trickier segment to deal with? Instead of a horizontal segment, let's say it has endpoints at -5, 3, and +7, +1. You could draw a picture of this thing. Honestly, you wouldn't and shouldn't have to, but if you did want to draw a picture of it, you could see it certainly isn't horizontal. And you could kind of get a pretty good feel just by looking at where that midpoint's going to be. To actually figure out what the midpoint is, though, let's average out the endpoints. The x values here are -5 and +7. If we were going to average them out, we take -5 plus 7 and divide it by 2. If you're 5 in the hole, but then you gain 7, you're now 2 out of the hole, and 2 divided by 2 is 1. To get the average y value, we'd have to average up the 3 and the 1. Add them up, divide by 2. 3 plus 1 in most states is 4. Divided by 2 gives you 2. So your x coordinate is the 1, your y coordinate is the 2, your midpoint is going to be 1, 2, and if you draw that in on the graph, 1, 2 is right there. Again, it looks pretty good. Just by looking at it with the naked eye, if you will, you can see that that's a pretty reasonable answer. In the last problem, these were the ordered pairs of the endpoints that we had on our segment that we were trying to find the midpoint of. What you'll see in a textbook is the following terminology. They'll call the x value in the first ordered pair x sub 1. That's an x with a subscript 1. And they'll call the y value in the first ordered pair y sub 1. So here's your x sub 1 and your y sub 1. Following that pattern, the x value in the second ordered pair, they'll call x sub 2, the x value of the second ordered pair. With the y value, they'll call that y sub 2, the second y value. These are subscripts. They are not exponents. They don't mean anything fancy other than the first x value or the second x value or whatever. And honestly, if you flip-flop these, it wouldn't matter if you called the -5 x sub 2 as long as you're also calling the 3 y sub 2. So it doesn't matter which one you want to consider to be the first ordered pair and which one you want to be considered the second ordered pair, as long as you're consistent throughout the problem. It won't be a problem. So with that terminology, the actual definition for midpoint of a segment, where the endpoints are x sub 1 and y sub 1, and then x sub 2 comma y sub 2, the midpoint is going to be an ordered pair answer. So I'll put a big set of parentheses here with a comma in between. The first value in the ordered pair is the average of the x's. So add up your x values and divide by 2. The second coordinate will be the average of the y values. So add up your y values and divide by 2. And that's really about it, folks. It doesn't get a whole lot trickier than that. Just look out for halves and 0.5s and improper fractions, but really that's the gist.